Hey, hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful and so thankful to be here. Welcome to Walking the Path. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. I'm just glad to be here, period. I'm gonna take these off. I'm gonna take them off right now. So, man, what a beautiful day. Amazing here in Costa Rica. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. As people are starting to come in, so grateful, so thankful. So grateful and so thankful that everyone's streaming in. And I'm happy that you're here. I want to tell you a couple things about living in Costa Rica, about rythmia, and then I want to tell you about why you were made for this. Whatever you're going through, whatever's happening right now in your life, whatever's happening in the world, we were made for this. You were made for this. You were made for exactly this. So that's the good news. You have everything that you need within you already loaded and encoded for you to meet whatever's coming your way because you were made for this. So, really quickly to backtrack, Rythmia, Life Advancement Center, Costa Rica. This is an amazing, amazing retreat center, spiritual retreat center where we do plant medicine, and ayahuasca is the medicine that they use, and it is an amazing week stay. You cannot believe what happens in a week there. I've been there for 6 years, and I get to see what happens week in and week out, and it's miraculous, nothing short of miraculous, to see what can happen in 1 week. So if you have any interest, on Facebook and YouTube, you see the little number down here. On Instagram, you can go to rythmia.com and check it out and see if it's for you. If something's calling for you, listen to that voice of intuition. Everything's happening for you. I want to tell you about living in Costa Rica. Man, it was crazy. Yesterday, I was out. It's the rainy season right now, right? And so typically we get rain in the afternoons, like a lot of rain. And in the mornings, it can be raining in the morning too during October. But Priya says, I think ayahuasca broke me. Tell me more about that. Why do you say that? In October, it can be raining day or night. But right now, yesterday, it was a sunny morning. Well, partly sunny. And I went out to the beach I'm making some recordings for a project that I'm working on. And I had some time. I was like, oh, the weather's beautiful. So I went out to the beach to make these recordings. And okay, Bria, I'm going to get to your comment. On Instagram, Bria says that ayahuasca broke her because it brought up Holocaust trauma and she couldn't deal and she had to be hospitalized. Okay, I'm going to address that. But let me finish this story. Thank you for sharing that, Bria. I appreciate it. So yesterday I'm out at the beach with my friend who's recording. We're doing some morning satnas, and I'm seeing it sunny at the beach, and I see over in the east the clouds are coming in, and we're trying to get everything recorded. And we finished the 3 things we wanted to record, and we're packing up, and it starts to rain. Perfect. We get in the truck, and what I love about Costa Rica is you can drive right up to the beach still, right? You drive right up to the beach. So we run up, we take this really bad dirt road, bumpy, to get up out of the beach. Thank goodness I have a 4-wheel drive. It's an old 4-wheel drive, but it's 4-wheel drive, still works. So we get up there, and now we're heading down this dirt road. It's starting to rain harder, and it's just, the road's turning into a river. So we drive up to this little soda. Soda in Costa Rica is like a limited menu restaurant. It's like a local restaurant. So they call them sodas here. I don't know why, but that's what they call them. So we go to the soda and we have lunch, and it's just pouring the whole time we eat. Okay, cool. And we're getting ready, like, all right, let's go. We run to the car after lunch, and I'm getting ready to drive from Playa Negra back to where I live in Playa Avellanas. And we get to, okay, what is this thing that's coming? This automatic gesture. We're driving from Playa Negra and I can't get out of Playa Negra. The river has flooded. It's over flooded, broken its banks. So much water has come down in less than an hour that this area is absolutely flooded. I wish I could post a picture of it. I think, oh, maybe it's not that deep. And I start to go in, and pretty soon the water's like above my tires. And I'm like, oh, no. And I back out. and I sit there and I just watch the water rise. And some guy on a bike's like, I can get through this on a motorcycle. And it was like up to the waist level water in the road. So there's a whole line of cars sitting there waiting, and it's Costa Rica. So what do? You just go, well, pura vida. I'm going to have to wait till the water goes down. There's no other. There was one way. You could go an hour around. But by the time you went an hour around the back way, and that might also be flooded in certain areas, the water would be down here. So you just wait. You start talking to people on the street. Hey, what's your name? And we waited. The water went down enough. All of a sudden, big trucks started going through. I'll wait another 15 minutes. Finally, it went down. And the rain stopped enough that the river stopped over flooding into that area. And then the river was just going in its normal bank. Then the water could go down. It took about an hour. So we get through that. And then we get on the way to my house, and there's a little creek. And we come up to the little creek. It is swollen, huge, it has like a rapids. That's rapid. Logs are floating down, and there's a little bridge. The creek goes under this little teeny bridge. The water's like over the bridge. I took a video of that. I was like, I can't get home. Carol says we're gonna. I should be there that week. Carol, yes, I can't wait to see you. So that way we had to go around the back way. It was another 30-minute drive to get around the back way, but I could get around the back way. What a crazy day, but a day in Costa Rica. Amazing, amazing weather. These places are normally dry riverbeds. Both of the places that were completely flooded were normally dry. In the rainy season, they might run a little bit, but when it rains so heavily, bam, man, it comes. So that was my day yesterday, and I'm grateful. Like, I sent a video to my niece, and she goes, well, I think I'd rather have that than traffic, right? Because people have an hour delay in LA or Phoenix, but they're just sitting in a traffic jam on the 405 or on the 51 or wherever they are. I got to sit in the jungle and talk to people, like we all got out of our car, sat there and talked about the last time this happened. It was amazing. Okay. Now I want to get to Bria. So the topic of today, and this has to do with Bria's comment, the topic of today is you were made for this. You were made for this, part 3. I've been talking about this for the last several weeks, and it's becoming more and more important for me to realize this, that no matter what's happening to me, it's really happening for me. That sounds like a trite statement, but when you really realize the metaphysical and philosophical implications of that statement, it is so important that everything is happening for us. Things manifest for several reasons. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith at Agape teaches there's 4 windows of manifestation. The first window of manifestation is called the Job effect. And that's Job was in the Bible. His worst fear was that he'd lose everything. And that ended up happening. So his worst fear was that he'd lose. So we manifest our worst fears. And boy, is that a message from the medicine? Because the medicine will follow what you bring. The medicine is just a reflection of you, just like the universe. The universe is just reflecting back to you. So if something is happening in my experience, like Bria brought up traumas of the Holocaust, it broke her and she couldn't deal with it. And she said she had to go to the hospital, had to be hospitalized. How is that for her? Well, on a real level, Bria, on a very real level, our experience is a reflection of our state of mind. There is no firm reality out there that's happening to us. There is a perception of external stimuli and circumstances that are very much a matter of our perception, our seeing, our perceiving of them. And therefore, our experience of reality is an effect of our state of mind. There's nothing that you did wrong, Bria. That was real trauma. That is real trauma. But trauma isn't what happened. It's the story that we tell ourselves about what happened. And it's not that there was anything wrong with you being hospitalized. that probably sent you on an amazing journey of healing. Bria, thank you. She says, thank you. But I want to ask you, did that send you on a journey of healing? That probably sent you, like ayahuasca breaking you, probably built you up. Give me a comment, Bria, and let me know how that is affecting. She said, family, my family made me the identified patient. And it's hard to stay still. Beautiful. Bria, thank you, thank you, thank you. And here's the thing. I want to get back to this idea that it's all happening for us and that things manifest for several reasons. Reverend Michael, as I said, teaches 4 reasons, 4 windows of manifestation. The first is the Job effect. The universe reflects back to us our worst fear. The second manifestation is a lesson. Things happen that our higher self sets up for us to learn a lesson. Our universe, the universal mind, collective conscious, the higher self. What is it? I don't know where these reactions are coming from. Something's happened and reactions are coming up. You on Instagram, you can't see it, but on the Facebook side, it's weird. Anyway, the second window of manifestation is a lesson. Things are set up for us to learn a lesson. And the third window of manifestation is a blessing. Sometimes we can't see the blessing in what's happened. There's a longer story in this, but I'll say simply that each of us have moments in our lives that happened that when they happened to us, they seemed really bad and we could not see the blessing in them. But many months or years later, we saw that they were a blessing. We saw that they were a blessing. So Janine says, it's me. I'm agreeing with you. No, Janine, not on Instagram. Instagram is cool. I see the hearts. Thank you. On the Restream studio, some balloons came up. I don't know where the balloons came from. So I was saying on Instagram, you can't see it. But keep sending those hearts, Janine. I love it. So third window of manifestation is things are a blessing. We can't see the blessing in it. Bria, this might be a blessing that you can't see. We can't see the blessing. But here's the truth. God is everything, everywhere. God is on the field because God is the field. As my good friend Lee Simran Brown says, God is the field. God is the field of consciousness. There is no outside of God. Every activity is the activity of God. Here's the hard one. How do we say that the war in the Middle East or the Holocaust is the activity of God? That's a hard one. How do we say that? Here's why. Everything is unfolding as it needs to unfold, as it has to unfold. Everything is, there's a blessing even when we can't see it. There's a blessing even when we can't see it. So I'm hearing this right now. I'm going to tell you a quick little story about the Holocaust and a little girl named Anne Frank. We all know Anne Frank, right? Anne Frank. So we know the story of Anne Frank, the diary of Anne Frank. Her father, Otto Frank, was able to immigrate to the United States. And interestingly enough, in the 20s and early 30s, in the 20s and early 30s, the United States went through a very similar time to what we're going through right now with immigration. And there was all this anti-immigration policy that started happening, and they started closing the borders, and very conservative Congresses came in. There was a very conservative Supreme Court. Oliver Wendell Holmes was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at that time. And they started creating really restrictive immigration policies. And by the time World War II, at the end of World War I, between the Depression and World War II, lots of Jews started to try and immigrate to the United States from Europe, and the United States wouldn't let them in because of our restrictive immigration policies, exactly like what we're happening now. History will repeat itself. And one of those people that they wouldn't let in, one of the people that the United States wouldn't let in was little Anne Frank. And her father, Otto Frank, was here begging, writing his congressman, writing to the leaders to let his daughter in. And there was no room for that. But the people who were in power, Oliver Wendell Holmes, which is to this day considered one of the preeminent jurisprudents of the Supreme Court, All of the congressmen and senators of the time, very powerful at the time. What about all the people in the Third Reich? Very powerful at the time. Those were the people that seemed to have all the power. And now, do any of you remember any of the people in the Third Reich? Do any of you remember any of the names of the congressmen or senators? How many people even knew the name of Oliver Wendell Holmes? But everybody knows the name of Anne Frank. We cannot see the blessing in what's happening. But history, as Martin Luther King says, arcs towards justice. And that little girl and her story has been imprinted on millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people, encouraging and engendering compassion and love on the planet in a way that could have never happened if it didn't happen that way. We cannot see the blessings sometimes in the most atrocious things. Now, here's where we come to our topic. And I'm speaking to Bria too, because she's saying, you know, she was hospitalized. We can't see it. We might not be able to see it yet, Bria, but there's a blessing there. There's a lesson. There's a blessing. Something wonderful is happening. Now, here's where we have to train our minds to look for the good, no matter what the appearances are. This is Jesus's message. Don't get caught up in appearances. Things are not what they appear to be. Now, we in our finite minds, we want to see something happen right now. I want to see peace in the Middle East. I want to see Anne Frank free at the time. I want to see, right? But in the bigger, longer God time picture, we don't understand how something's manifesting and where the blessing is. And this is why our job is to stay centered through our daily practice and to practice the God mind. There's always two minds available. There's the ego mind or the God mind. The ego mind is the mind of fear, doubt, lack, worry, limitation, not enoughness, anxiety, hatred, judgment. All of that's the ego mind. And then there's the God mind, peace. Then there's the God mind, abundance. Then there's the God mind, all is well, no matter what the appearance is. There's the God. We can choose either time. It's not easy. It's not easy. This is why we practice. This is why we have to do our daily practice. This is why when the rubber meets the road, it's a lesson. Something's happening for me. I get to learn this lesson of choosing the peace mind. I can replace my anxiety with peace. I can replace my fear with peace. I can replace my hatred with peace. I can replace my hatred with forgiveness. I can replace my judgment with forgiveness. I can choose. It's our choice. Now, in Aramaic. So you were made for this. You were made for this. You were made for these choices. You were made to bring the lightness into the dark. You were made to choose the God mind in the midst of chaos. You were made to bring peace in the midst of turbulence. You were made for this. This is why we are here. We are light workers and light warriors. This is why we're here. You were made for this. This is what Jesus said on the cross. Eli, Eli, lambda Shabbatin. And it was misinterpreted. That was the Aramaic. It was misinterpreted in Elizabethan English. They misinterpreted it from the Greek, from the Hebrew to the Aramaic, to Hebrew to Greek, to Latin, to English. And it got confused because the Aramaic says, this is why I was left. That's what Jesus said on the cross. This is why I was left here, to overcome attachment to the body, to overcome the sting of death, to overcome hatred. Even when they nail me to a cross, I was made for this. This is why I was left here. That's his inspirational statement. That's his declaration of victory. Do what you want to this body. That's not the real thing. Y'all got it wrong. And then what did the Catholic Church do? Put the emphasis on the body. They put crosses everywhere with the guy's body on it, and then they reproduce a ritual of eating his body as if the body were the thing. And Jesus is going, I'm not this body. Nail it to a cross. Go on. You can't touch what I really am. I was made for this, to prove that I can see the light in the middle of the darkness. It appears dark, but this is my victory, baby. We were made for this. You were made for this. This is what we have to do. Middle East right now, can't see it, can't see the way out of it. We were made to bring peace in our hearts first. We were made to bring forgiveness in our hearts first. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive those closest to us so that we amplify the feeling tone of forgiveness in ourselves, and we can imprint that forgiveness worldwide consciousness. Consciousness is contagious. Peace in the Ukraine. We have to see it first in ourselves. We have to see it first in Democrats and Republicans, in Magda and Magna, pre-Magda, whatever. We have to see it in them too. I have to see it. They have to see it in us. Fundamentalists and metaphysics. I don't care. We have to learn. This is why we are here. We were made for this, to see the good, even when it's hard to see the good, to find the peace in the midst of chaos, to see the light. Now, why? How do I know? How can we do this? How can we say there's light in darkness? I've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. Quantum physics tells us you can never get to absolute zero. The importance of this lesson is that I know that there's a duality of hot and cold. I know that there's something I can touch as hot and there's something I can touch as cold. But quantum physics says no matter how cold it gets, there's still a quantum movement, a filament of movement on the quantum level. And that means there's movement. And if there's movement, there's heat. And we can never get to zero movement. That means no matter how cold it gets, there's still some movement. That means there's heat. That means hot and cold are not an expression of two things. They're an expression of one thing, more or less heat. But there's always heat. So then apply that to light and dark, good and evil. Evil isn't a thing in and of itself. It's just the absence of good, but there's still some good there because it's all God. If we can see the good, we can amplify it in the midst of the evil. If we can see the light, we can amplify it in the midst of the dark. This is what we were made for. This is why you were here. You were made for this, to see the good no matter what, to see the peace no matter what. It's not easy. As Reverend Michael has been saying, it's not easy. But it's possible. It's possible. We can do it. It takes practice. We don't beat ourselves up when we don't achieve Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, peace, Martin Luther King Jr., clarity. When we don't achieve that right off, when we get caught talking to a friend or a relative and get caught, overreact, we don't beat ourselves up. We can't. We come back over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Choose the peace, choose the love, choose forgiveness, choose. I didn't do it. Okay, I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna try again until it becomes second nature. We were made for this. I'm really feeling good about this talk. I think this is a great place to end. I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Sending you guys much love. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And richest blessings. You were made for this. You were made to find the light in the darkness. You were made to find the peace in the chaos. You got this. We got this. Practice. Do your practice every day so that we can forgive ourselves and then begin to forgive others. Thank you. God bless you. Peace to all. Love to all. Blessings to all. That we see an ever-increasing good in this world. That we all find an ever-widening field of consciousness, field of awareness. And that we all find an ever-deeper connection to our source of all of life. That really, fundamentally, all is one. And that we do to the least of us, we do to ourselves. So it is. Amen. Thank you. Blessings.